Hello everyone and welcome to episode 34 of RETRY. Today we're looking back at one of my all-time personal favorites, Demon Attack, made for the Atari 2600 and released in 1982. Man oh man, where do you start with this title? I'll tell you, a lot of gamers out there are familiar with games like Asteroids, Space Invaders, and Missile Command and have no idea about this great shooter. The game was designed by Rob Philop, and if that name sounds familiar to you, it damn well should be. He is responsible and has worked on some of the greatest games that have ever been released for the Atari 2600. On top of being the lead designer of Demon Attack, Rob Philop also worked on the Atari 2600 ports of Night Driver, Space Invaders, and Missile Command. That's one hell of a resume. There is a great statistic from Rob's personal website that I have to share here. It claims that Rob is personally responsible for over 100,000 man-years of time that has been wasted playing his games. And I'll tell you what, sitting down to play Demon Attack, it's pretty easy to tell why. The story goes like this. You're marooned on the ice planet of Krybor, and you have a single laser cannon which you must use to defeat legions and legions of attacking demons. Based on the 1979 arcade shooter Galaxian, Demon Attack has a very similar style of gameplay. You move your spaceship left and right, defeating the demons as they move towards you. Sometimes they'll shoot at you, sometimes they'll move erratically. All in all, it's a pretty challenging game. As the game progresses, each wave introduces new weapons, which the demons use to attack you with. Sometimes it's more bullets or long streaming lasers. This makes ducking past them and shooting them head on much more difficult. After level 5, the demons split into two separate birds that can shoot independently, and they can dive bomb towards you, which makes the game even more challenging. Make no mistake, this is an Atari 2600 game at its best. It is extremely difficult, but they added one awesome feature which makes it a blast to play. Specifically, a lot of the arcade ports of the Atari 2600 were made just as hard as their arcade counterparts, which means a lot of times the difficulty ramped up so quickly you didn't really get a chance to enjoy the game. Demon Attack did something kind of special to get around this. It's still extremely difficult, mind you, but they give you an extra life after every level you complete, making the game much more bearable. The enemies can fly around pretty erratically, and since you don't want to be directly underneath them, you're always trying to guess where they will be. As you can see here, this sometimes leads me to have some pretty embarrassing moments where I can't get the last guy to go on to the next wave. Kind of a funny story about the release of this game, about developers underestimating gamers. Demon Attack has 84 levels, and lead designer Rob Philop never thought that anyone would beat the game, so it was just released that way. If anyone could get to the 84th level, the game would just lock up. 2 days after the game's release, a kid beat the game, got to level 84. 2 days. So subsequent releases of the game had a line of code fixed so that the game would no longer lock up on the 84th level. It would simply repeat forever, but it would never get any harder. You would just keep doing the hardest level over and over, but you could continue to rack up points. Originally, Atari didn't even want this game to see the light of day. Yeah, that's right. Even though this game turned out to be one of the most successful 2600 games, and it was definitely a massive hit for the developer who made it, Imagic, Atari almost put a stop to it right out of the gate. You see, Atari had already purchased the home console rights to develop a game based on the arcade title Phoenix. And I'll tell you, there's definitely some similarities between Phoenix and Demon Attack. These similarities prompted Atari to start a lawsuit against Imagic, but it was settled out of court, and boy, for gaming's sake, everyone was glad that they did. It turned out to be a massive hit for Imagic. The lawsuit didn't really hurt them that bad. The company of Imagic long since went out of business. They were a casualty of the video game crash in 1983. All the rights to their most popular titles, including Demon Attack, are currently owned by Activision and have been since the late 1980s. Sadly, if you want to play this great game, you have to track down one of the original releases on, say, the Intellivision or the 2600. It has not been re-released in any compilation packs on any of the modern systems. That said, there are quite a few dedicated fans out there that have made Flash versions or homebrew versions of the game, so if you check around on Google, I'm sure you'll find it and be able to get your fix. Thanks for watching. For VideoGameSaga.com, this is Tony B, and I'm out. Retry? You know it.